Do you wave your terrible towel when Renegade plays? Reach for a tasty cake when JJ shouts, "He scores!" Does the sound of an F1 engine make your heart race? Doing push-ups with the Nittany Lion after a TD? Then lend us an ear, and we will share the exhilaration of Steelers football, the excitement of Flyers hockey, the nail-biting finishes of F1, and the pride when we yell, "We are Penn State." Welcome to the SteelFlyers Show, the strangest combination of sports fandom since pineapple was put on pizza. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a very special edition of the SteelFlyers Show. We've got a great group of people here today for you. We've also got a very special show coming up for you. We got the Lake Tahoe special preview, the Boston Bruins versus the Philadelphia Flyers coming up very, very soon, and we can't wait. And boy, it's going to be an outdoor classic to top all outdoor classics. We got two Philadelphia Flyers and two Boston Bruins here for you today, and we're going to hash it out for this game here today. So let's introduce everybody in the lineup. A special guest today, Slapshot Sweethearts, Shan Walsh is joining. Hey, thank you very much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited.
All right. And how can we follow you, and where can we get all your great stuff?
Yeah, so Slapshot Sweethearts is on all your favorite social media accounts. So we just made a Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. If you just search Slapshot Sweethearts, each handle's a little bit different, but we'll pop right up. And then you can find me at Swalshy63 on Twitter and Instagram as well.
Awesome sauce. Thank you very much. By the way, if you guys don't know, you need to be following her, and you need to be following Slapshot Sweethearts because they got it going on for real. It's great. I love watching you girls talk about great hockey. It's awesome. I love what you guys are doing. That's why I wanted to bring you on here, especially because you're the Boston side. So, speaking of the other Boston side, we got Jon from Off the Wall Hockey. Hey, Jon and the Hizzy. What's going on, brother?
What's up, man? Thanks for having me on. This is awesome.
You got it, man. You got it. Jon is a great Boston fan here, and he runs the Black and Gold Weekly, which is another great show that you got to check out for sure. That comes out on Thursdays. And then you also got to check out Jon on Off the Wall Hockey that we do on Friday nights there from the SteelFlyers All Sports Network. Got to check that out. Jon, how can we follow you? Where can we get all your great stuff?
I'm on Facebook, Off the Wall Hockey, comes right up. Twitter, at Off the Wall Hawk, just drop the EY off the end of hockey. And YouTube, my main platform where I'm doing all my stuff, Off the Wall Hockey, pushing for 4K subscribers. So it'd be awesome if people could hit the subscribe button there, and doing daily content, covering the whole NHL.
Exactly. Plus, you got some really good Boston stuff, too. Hey, we got the professor in the house. He's going to be dropping some school on us. How you doing, Joe? Buddy, how you doing?
Doing good. Excited to talk some Flyers hockey, then excited to cover the minor league team in about 7 hours.
Yep, there you go, man. There you go. Awesome sauce. All right. Where can we get Joe, and where can we get all your great stuff, Joe?
It'll take to next Christmas to list a lot of stuff I do, so I'll just give you the social media handle. I don't give out my Instagram a lot, but I don't know why, so here it is. Borek, Bork 6789 is my Instagram. Then my Twitter is JJBorek26, and then Joseph, JOSEPH BOREK. My name is my Facebook. Granted, I would recommend not contacting me through Facebook because that's the least thing I look at. But if you want to, I'll try to get back to you. But I use that to share out people's things. I don't use that to actually post myself. But yeah, that's where you can find me. Excited to talk about Lake Tahoe. It's a beautiful setting. Been looking at all the pictures. It looks amazing.
I know. It looks great. Awesome sauce. You can get Jon and you can get Joe on the SteelFlyers All Sports Network, and you can check them out at www.steelflyers.com, and you can get all their great content right there. Hopefully, maybe we can add Slapshot Sweethearts to that list too. Hopefully soon, maybe. Hopefully soon, maybe. Hopefully soon, maybe. Hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. All right.
Throw the fishing rod.
Yep, throwing it out there. Got to always have it out there. So we got two great people for Boston, two great people for Philadelphia. We got a seriously special game coming up here with the Philadelphia Flyers and the Boston Bruins. The first thing I want to find out is this. Both teams are going to be missing some key players. More so on the Flyer side, obviously, with the COVID and all that other stuff. But there's a couple players that are going to be missing in Boston as well. Krejci, and I believe Miller was the other one that is down as well too. Those are two very important key cogs in Boston's side of things. So I'm going to start off, obviously, ladies first. Shan, how do you think that with Krejci and Miller being out, how is that going to affect Boston on the ice coming out here in the Lake Tahoe game?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, they're both reasonably significant in terms of absences. I mean, as long as it's not an absence in the top line, I'm not that concerned on the offense. But for Kevin Miller being out on the defense, he is that reliable older guy. And, you know, we didn't have him last season, but it is pretty important for this season. And the younger guys have held their own so far, but I don't want the Lake Tahoe game to be the moment when they crumble. So, I mean, I'm crossing my fingers that they can hold it together for, you know, that one game without Kevin Miller, but it is a significant absence, like you said.
Awesome. Jon, what do you think? How do you think that's going to stack up there in Boston with those two guys being out?
It's not good, particularly the Miller absence on the back end, because they're already missing Grzelcyk and Zaboral too. So they are down 3 defensemen. And quite honestly, I don't really want to see John Moore play another game in a Bruins uniform, and we're going to be stuck watching probably John Moore play 20 minutes or at least 20, if not more, on Sunday afternoon. It's worrisome to me because that defense is already so young, and now they're going to be even younger and even less experienced heading into this game. Krejci is definitely a loss too. I mean, he hasn't put up huge numbers this year, but to have such a stable second line center like that has been huge for the Bruins. And now with him out, Coyle has to move up to the second line. He's not had a good year this year. So, you know, is he going to have kind of a coming out party in this game? Maybe. If not, you know, Boston could be hurting offensively outside of that top line. I certainly have concerns heading into this game as a Bruins fan, particularly with how bad the Bruins played on Thursday night.
Yeah, that is a good point too. You know, and that's when they lost Miller there on that game as well too. So, all right, well now we kind of have the same kind of adversity on the Philadelphia side, and I'm going to propose that to the professor. Joe, we have a significant amount of players out for the Philadelphia side for the Tahoe game. Giroux, Voracek, Lawton. You know, you're looking at the heart of the Philadelphia Flyers scoring and their depth of scoring. How do you think that's going to affect how the team is going to be on the ice versus the Boston Bruins? I mean, both teams are a little bit depleted, but I think the Flyers might be a little bit more so. How do you think that's going to affect how AV is going to put the team on the ice?
Well, first of all, the same thing John said about John Moore is my feeling about Gustafsson. I could be perfectly content with him never touching the ice again. But now we have to see him play probably 20-some minutes, and I'm probably going to want to gouge my eyes out after those 20-some minutes. But
Agreed.
I think the team, I wouldn't call it the same because you're missing, as Shannon hinted at much, we're missing a lot of our top liners, where that's me, where Boston's missing Krejci, who's a very good second line. He's always been one of my favorite players in the league because he just gets it done the right way. He's not a guy that usually comes at you for not mitigated reasons. If he's going to come at you, it's because you deserve him to come at you. Yeah. And he's a guy that I've always liked. Good defensive, good on both ends, a good player.
I'm with you on that.
Like David Krejci. So it's sad that he won't be playing. But we've had guys step up for us. If Nat can play like he did last game, he played by far his best game of the season.
Agreed.
Rangers. Yeah. So you can have other guys step up. Kasha looked pretty good and active on the ice. I didn't really expect him to come up and put up like 3 points in his first game this season. So he was skating pretty well and looking pretty good on that line where I think what they're going to do is it seems like they might go with an extra defenseman and one less forward because yesterday in practice, Friedman was on the fourth line running the forward drills where he's not going to move to wing, obviously, but that's just because they think he's going to be in. And then you would have Provorov, Myers, still probably Sanheim, Ghost, and Ghost played by far his best defensive game of the season.
Yeah, I agree.
New York. And then you got Hag and Gustafsson, who's a liability on defense, obviously. So hopefully he can do something. That's why I think you're putting Friedman in, because if Gus really sucks, he probably is just going to get benched. against Boston, and then you would end up running with Friedman and probably have to move Hag with Sanheim and let Ghost play with Friedman just because Hag's a little bit too slow to play with Mark Friedman.
Yeah, I'm with you.
But
on that.
you have to be able to match up the lines better there. But I think you're going to look for guys to continue to step up. Bunneman, I've always thought was fine when he's in the NHL. If you just tell him play defense, be the defensive dude on the line, you can contribute on offense because you have some skill, but just worry more about defense and let Patrick and Kasha worry about the other end of the ice. That'll go a long way. So I think it's all about putting the right mentality in the guys like AV seemed to do against the Rangers, because they came out really good in the third. The first two were meh, and then in the third period, the team came out really good and was able to get that 1 point. And yet the Rangers in a shootout, that's actually probably their best way to win. Honestly, if
For the Rangers
to a shootout, that's probably their best way to win, because Kakko plays like Capo Kakko from overseas when he's in a shootout. He's basically like almost 100%. He's 3 for 4, and Artemi Panarin's now the best shootout player in hockey. So when he comes in, you're basically no contest.
Yeah, I'm with you on that for sure.
I didn't mind that loss. I was just happy we got 1 point. I would be happy if we get 1 point from this game, because you kind of
right. Because I'll tell you what, man, I'm not really. I agree with everything you're saying, and I also, but see, I think we're going to be missing a little bit too much here for Boston.
Yeah, that's why I think. Well, this is Philly. Philly doesn't make sense.
Right.
We're not going to do well. They do better. Like, that's the way this city works. You could have your whole team out and have the Philadelphia Phantoms playing, and all of a sudden you get to OT and you'll be like, how in hell did that happen?
It's funny
like,
because
that's just Philadelphia for you. We beat the Warriors when the Sixers were terrible. How does that happen? Like, that's just Philly.
John was talking the other day about how the Boston was playing against the Islanders, and he was like, yeah, that game is going to be, that's Islanders all the way. He was completely expecting Boston to just not play well, and was like, yeah. This is a perfect game for Boston to just lose. And what did they do? They freaking lost. You know what I mean? So, all right. So that's kind of the bad of what's going to happen here with this game. So let's look at some of the good. Boston is leading the East right now. Okay. Now they're one of the top teams in all of hockey right now, you'd have to say. Wouldn't you agree, Shannon?
I would, yes. Except for the bad play that they had against the Devils. The Devils, I will forever say, are my dark horse, and we should not sleep on the Devils. However, we looked awful against them, and I hope that we can get our crap together before tomorrow and not play like that again.
Yeah, really, for sure. I mean, I love to see when players have some pushback, and I love to see when teams have some pushback. You know what I mean? And it seems like both, like, we've talked about this on numerous occasions, and when you look at like Boston, they don't come into a game and go, well, yeah, we hope to win. You know what I mean? They come into a game and they expect to win, and they find ways to win, which is why they win 2-1, 1-0, 3-2. Philadelphia is like, well, gosh, I don't think we have that mentality yet, because we haven't gone through what you guys have gone through as far as winning the President's Cup last year, and then being, playing so well and then not doing so well in the playoffs, but still winning the President's Cup. I mean, that's a big deal.
Last year was a crapshoot too, because of the return of play. Some teams played like
agreed.
So that was a different season. You can't really put that on.
So, how do you think that the fact that there's not going to be any fans there, and I'm going to start with Professor on this one. There's no fans there. How do you think that's going to, I mean, they've been playing with it already. Okay. But this whole thing has been nothing but a hype to get people to watch on TV. So, but that's different though, because we're watching it on TV, but you got guys out there playing hockey, and it's, you can hear the echo in the woods when they scream. You know what I'm saying? So how do you think that's going to affect the Philadelphia Flyers in this game? And I'll start with Joe.
I mean, in that sense, I don't think it'll affect them that much, because they're used to playing without the fanfare, where other teams very few in the NHL, more in the AHL, which is kind of funny, actually have a fan, where I think it'll not be much of an effect because everything I've been reading, Tahoe's all for TV. You couldn't really have much fans at Tahoe anyway because you'd have to put bleachers on the 18th green, and then you'd have to pay the course in order to recover the green after the bleachers destroyed their fairway. But I think this game was all for the fanfare of TV. It's all for the beautiful view, seeing that mountain in the background, seeing the lake frozen. Where it took Belmore thought they were playing on the lake too. But you have a nice setting there, and I don't think that'll affect them at all because they're used to not playing with fans. Obviously, I think what will affect the Flyers is the fact that you have all these young cats that Kasha's ready for the NHL. He makes the AHL look like OHL hockey players. But the other guys.
Sorry for the co-host.
Yeah, the other guys are not fully, other than Andreoff, who's a veteran, are not fully ready for the league yet, and Bunneman, who played last year. Like, Shushko's a sniper, but Shushko is not fully developed by any stretch. And then Strome got put on the taxi squad. Strome's not fully developed by any stretch. And I would have liked to see him play against Ryan on Thursday, though, but that did not happen. He probably would have fought his brother, honestly. But anyway, that game, I think, is going to be a great setting. That's all. That's what I'm looking forward to.
So you just think it's more going to be a setting thing?
I'm going into this game to enjoy the setting with the guys we have out. Whatever the result is, I'm still going to be happy with because it's the great setting to watch on TV.
I'm with you.
That's the way I'm going into this game.
Okay, and Shannon, what do you think? How do you think it's going to affect Boston with not having the fans there? And let's face it, if a puck whistles over the glass, it's going to be gone. Because there's nobody there. You know what I mean? So, but how do you think that's going to affect Boston in this game?
There are two things that I'm kind of wrestling with. With regard to the Flyers, I think one thing that's important to note is that you guys won't have, like you said, that top line, but that's your leadership also. So, there's going to be no fans there, but you don't have your leadership there either. So it's just going to be, basically a practice on a golf course, which is pretty interesting to point out.
Yeah, that's Boston.
leading into it for both teams, the entire situation, Meg and I have talked about it on our show as well, is interesting because, like I said, it's on a golf course. They've got no fans. They didn't do well advertising it until this week when they were like, "Oh, buy a sweatshirt. See it. Look at this commercial." Blah blah blah. There was no momentum leading up to it. They didn't do any special jerseys. They didn't do any special promotion or any way for the fans to get involved besides watching it on TV. Which if I'm in front of my TV tomorrow at 3, awesome, but I'm not making special plans like I would have for the Winter Classic or something like that. I think there was a missed opportunity. And I think in turn for the fans, or not the fans, excuse me, the players, I'm curious to see how they respond to it, just because in the NBA, there's a lot of players that are, not rebelling, but they're very frustrated at how the league is handling the All-Star game, which I'm kind of comparing to this only because it's a way that the league's making back money and outside of just regular play, which is what the NHL is trying to do with this game. And players are there's no need to do this. It's just, disruptive by this point. And I'm curious, obviously the NHL is a different culture than the NBA, but are players excited to play this game, or are they just this is a hassle to me and just let us play, our regular schedule?
Yeah, I'm with you. Wow. You know what, this is why I wanted to bring you on, because when I listen to your show, you guys have brought this up numerous occasions about the fact that this is a missed opportunity for the NHL to take the bull by the horns and promote this up the wazoo. You know what I mean? You made another point, and we talked about this last night on our show too, John, that there's no special jersey for these games. Even the Stadium Series, they made special jerseys for them. But there was nothing. Everybody got the reverse retro, and everybody has them. It's not a specific special jersey for this game.
Yeah.
Also, neither the Flyers or the Bruins reverse retro is anything to gawk at. It's not particularly good. If they were one of the better ones in the league, I would be wow. But
at least Colorado's wearing.
Flyers is boring, honestly.
Okay. All right. I mean,
I hate Boston.
I'm wearing a circa
like
2000, so I like the black in the jersey, so I'm down with that. I like the burnt orange. I think
They
it's a
could have
hot
done
looking
more.
jersey.
They wanted the ones from the earlier '90s. The team got lazy and decided to do the newer ones because they probably still have all the graphics for them. But the other ones, they would probably have to find all the graphics for, and everyone probably got lazy.
Right. No, but I that's why I wanted to bring you on, Shannon, because I wanted to make this point about the fact that this was not very hyped. There was not a lot of fanfare at all with this game. It was all like, okay, it's an outdoor classic, and hey, look at the cool mountain setting.
Yeah.
Right? All right, cool. Well, that's great, you know. But
well, the other point she said, though, about the inconvenience, like at least with Colorado and Vegas, those teams play, Vegas does because part of Lake Tahoe's in Nevada. Yeah. Where like they play in that general area and Colorado's in their division. So I mean, normally that wouldn't be much. That's not much travel. It was interesting, and I know people brought this up. Heck, it was a whole topic on the one radio station and the one Flyers Talk podcast about how we shouldn't be going to Lake Tahoe in this type of season because all it does is endanger the team. Yeah. Like because you're flying across country almost to play one game when
they're all flying private jets.
Oh yeah, I know.
They're not on there with other people.
Yeah,
like
but
it's the team all together.
And still got COVID, and we took private buses and still got COVID. So it's more the way it is now. You have no way of knowing how you fully get it. Some people say it's airborne. You can get it just from walking in an area that a lot of people have been in. Other people say you actually have to touch something. So I think it was a risk by the league to send the Bruins and Flyers across country to play in top. I think it's a good setting and a great experience for the guys, but you're also never going to get anyone to say, I don't want to be here. They're going to sugarcoat it and say, in quotes, I'm really looking forward to this, like we've seen from some guys already, because no one's going to come out and say, this is a waste of my time. So, no one's going to do that because that Gary Bettman's going to be calling you on the phone before the game, excuse me. So, that's why you don't want to deal with the league's hassle. So, I mean, I think it is a risk. It'll be interesting to see what happens. Hopefully nothing happens from it, but that's kind of the way I look at it.
Okay, so now we've talked about the some of the key major points about heading into this game that I wanted to touch on, and here's where you guys all get to shine now. Please give me your 3 keys to the game for your team to win. Okay, and I'm gonna start with Jon on this. Jon, give me your 3 keys to the game for the Boston Bruins to beat the Philadelphia Flyers at the Lake Tahoe Classic.
1, goaltending. You're not going to win a game with this many guys out of the lineup without getting great goaltending. And outdoor games are generally low-scoring, close games to begin with. Most of those outdoor games that we've seen have been in the 2-1, 3-2 kind of game where you're not seeing, 10, 11 goals scored. So goaltending.
Montreal Boston Winter Classic.
Yeah, well, Boston forgot that they had a game that day.
And I think the Buffalo Pittsburgh one too was a little bit more of a high scoring one too, wasn't it? That was one of the first ones.
Yeah, that was the first Winter Classic. Yeah.
So
for the most part, they're lower scoring games. So goaltending is going to be huge. Tuukka Rask has got to be the Tuukka Rask that won a Vezina Trophy and has been a finalist multiple times, and not the Tuukka Rask that played against the Islanders the other night. The defense has got to hold together. I mean, you're looking at 3 guys in the lineup that probably wouldn't normally be in the lineup with Clifton, Moore, and now it looks like Urho Vakanainen's going to be coming in. So, I mean, you're looking at a very inexperienced defense. They've just got to hold it together, find a way to just be simple, chip the puck out of the zone. Don't try and do too much. Just don't make any stupid mistakes. And number 3 for me is the power play. If the Bruins are going to win this game, their power play is going to have to be scoring because they're going to need at least 1, if not 2 power play goals. Philly's a tough team. They're a good team. Boston, a lot of their offense has come on the power play already this season. That's going to be a time when you have all of your guys out there. You're probably going to see McAvoy anchoring the quarterbacking the power play. With then you're going to have Bergeron, Pastrnak, Marchand, Ritchie as your forwards. That power play unit is going to have to put the puck in the net at some point in this game if the Bruins are going to win.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Professor Joe, give me your 3 keys to how Philadelphia can win this game against Boston.
Well, one is the same exact thing as John's. I mean, we're shorthanded on defense too, so goaltending would be, well, not as much as them, but Ghost would have to step up to the degree he stepped up against the Rangers in order to help solidify the top 4 there again with Sanheim, Myers, and Provorov, because your bottom line is, I mean, Hag looked better last game, but he's looked inconsistent this year, and then Gustafsson is not a defenseman. He should really be a forward. Where he should be the guy moving to forward, not Morin, but but where you have guys that need to step up as a big guys in the lineup. Like, for example, I don't think if we go an extra defenseman, he's probably the odd man out. So I'm not sure if he's going to be playing tomorrow or not, because you're going to want to keep in Morin, who's a physical guy against Boston. If you take him out, that's just dumbfoundingly stupid. So then you got Bunneman, who can also hit. So it's going to be goaltending. The big thing's going to be the PK, because against Boston, there's absolutely no chance with a bunch of young guys in you're not going to take a couple penalties. So you're going to have the penalty kill step up, which has been better recently, but has not been good against Boston all the time. So you're going to need to have them step up.
So true.
And actually do well against a team they don't normally succeed against, with guys that are not even in, that are normally sometimes on the PK. So, like Scott Lawton, for example, is one of the most vocal parts of our penalty kill. He's not in the game. So that's something you're going to have to see an Andreoff or Bunneman, who stepped up in the past on the PK. Somebody step up on the PK. Maybe Patrick will even have to play PK minutes, which is not common at this point. Trying to give him a little bit less minutes in a game, you're probably not going to be able to do that tomorrow. So I think it's all the PK has to step up, the goaltending has to step up, and the third is a really easy key. The young guys that are in the lineup have to play like they did against the Rangers, where Shushko looked like he was raw, but he did not look like he was lost.
Out of place.
Like he looked like he's a very smart player, so he didn't look lost. He just looked like his skill's still really raw. That's all. Where if he does play and you can set him up, when you watch him in the minors and everything, and over in Belarus, Shushko probably has the best shot of any other minor leaguer. Where that's why if you can set him up and he's in, you're fine. The problem is he can't set himself up at this point of his career.
That's kind of tough.
Yeah, he's basically Phil Kessel, where like if you can get the puck to him, that you'll be fine.
You're good. Just get the puck to him.
He can't set himself up anymore. Where at least during Phil Kessel's young tenure, he could set himself up a little bit. Where now it's literally stationary. You got the perfect pass to him. So that's where Shushko is at this point. But he'll be there. He'll get there to be the Kasha type guy. But I think it's the young guys stepping up, the goaltending, and the PK, because you're bound to take some penalties with young guys playing the Bruins.
Exactly, and especially against Boston. All right, Shannon, give me your 3 keys to how Boston can take down the vaunted Philadelphia Flyers on the 18th fairway at Lake Tahoe.
Yeah, I completely agree with John on the goaltending, but I won't use that one. But Tuukka Rask does need to keep his mental focus in the right state of mind. His mental focus is an absolute train wreck, and it really affects the Bruins. In terms of other people that need to focus, though, the young guys cannot let the environment of an outdoor game and the fanfare and all of that get to them. Oh, wow. And I think that especially because there are so many younger guys that are not used to playing with the Bruins or in this kind of environment, they can get distracted really easily, and that's a huge risk for us, and I think for the Flyers also. In addition, I think that we need to just get shots off on 5-on-5. We are not scoring clean goals anymore. Like John was saying, the penalty or power play is big for us, but we are only scoring on dirty chip-ins and bounces, and we are not scoring just nice, pretty goals anymore. We need to get shots on net, and something will go in at some point. And then finally, Bruce Cassidy cannot line tinker with David Krejci out. He is going to be tempted to break up the top line and move them around so that the offense is better suited. And
John's reaction.
I know, yeah.
I'll combust.
It makes me so mad. Do not break up the
literally
best
combust.
line in the NHL. You have the best line in the NHL and you break them up. Like, what is wrong with you?
He's gonna be tempted to do it, and I swear to God, if he's gonna try to put Pastrnak on the second line to make up for Krejci being out, and it's not gonna work. It never does.
Worked real well in New Jersey. Worked real well against the Devils. Yeah.
No, it didn't.
I don't get it.
So my 3 keys are this. I agree with everything that everybody has said. Obviously, I think the goalies need to play well, and I'm going to say that I think Carter Hart is going to play very well. I expect him to play well. I don't have a problem with that. My keys to the Flyers winning the game is this: stay out of the box. Because you do not want to see Marchand and Pastrnak and them guys skating out there 5-on-4. No. Okay, don't want to do that. So stay out of the box. That's key right there. Stay out of the box. I know it's going to be tough for the young players, especially playing against guys like Marchand and Pastrnak and that kind of stuff. And they're going to be reaching and stretching and they're probably going to be calling it close because I can see it already. Oh, well, anyway. I also think the other thing, too, is this. When we do have opportunities, we need to shoot the puck. Stop passing the freaking puck around and treating it like a hot freaking potato. Okay? And, I would like to see the guys take a practice at just skating around with nobody on the ice and no goalie. Okay, and just skating around, doing their power play and putting pucks in the net. I would like to see that practice, because when they do shoot the puck, you hear every one because they're off the glass, they're off the wall, they're wide. I'm not that terribly gifted. I'm on one leg and I could probably at least hit the net from that distance. I mean, come on. All right, so shoot the puck, stay out of the box, and be physical. Hit them. Hit the Boston Bruins. Beat them every chance you get. Smack them every chance you get. Plaster them against the boards every chance you get. You can't score if you're on the seat of your pants.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Flyers need to be physical. Flyers need to stay out of the box. Yeah, that's right there is a double consternation key. Right there.
That's the
there's smart physical and there's dumb physical, and you want to be smart physical, particularly against the Bruins, because in the 4 games that these teams have played already, Boston's by far been the more physical team in all of those matchups.
Which is why I said they need to be more physical, because Boston is basically just plastering them. You know what I mean? And I also agree with what Joe said. The defense needs to step up. Our offense needs to step up. Our young guys need to step up, because we are missing our core scoring depth. Okay. JVR looked really good against the Rangers, but he needs to be more. You know what I mean? I look for this game to be a really good game, but I also look for it to be kind of painful for the orange and black, I feel. So, all right, Shannon, give me your prediction on the score.
I'm going to go 3-2 Boston. I think it's going to be a little higher scoring, and I am not particularly confident that Tuukka Rask is going to come with his very best play, so we're probably going to give away a few, but I think that we'll bring it back offensively from where we were against the Devils the other day.
Okay, so you're going 3-2?
Yeah, that's my final answer.
Cool. Final answer on that one. All right, cool. And the $64 million question, Joe, give me your prediction.
I'm going to go 4-3 in overtime to Boston. I think the Flyers might battle enough to get 1 point. They did it with the Rangers. I think they'll figure out a way to do it tomorrow. It won't be easy. I think the Boston might beat us by 20 in shots. But
well, that kind of goes without saying.
It'll be one of those games that makes no logistical sense. but somehow you still got to overtime, and then probably, like always happens against Boston, Marchand or Berge will score in the first 10 or to 20 seconds of overtime, and then that will be that.
Or there'll be a power play that'll.
Or the Brust will get going because we have him break out against us. So,
of course.
Yeah.
You know, anybody who hasn't scored in the last 25 or 15 games will score against us. So, you know, if you got any players on your team like that who haven't scored for a while. Right.
Charlie Coyle, mean our entire third and fourth line.
Yeah, Charlie Coyle goal confirmed.
Oh, man, it's going to be bad.
Coyle's going to score now.
Yeah, right. Great, thanks. All right, John, give me your prediction on the game.
I'm going to combine those two. I'm going to say 3-2 in overtime, Boston. I don't like the way the Bruins have been playing the last couple of games, but the Flyers are missing a lot. So I do think the Bruins pull it out. I think it's going to be a close game, though, and I got it going to OT. So one last thing for Joe, though. Are you ready to watch Eric Gustafsson turn the puck over like 500 times on Sunday?
That's why he's going to get benched, probably.
Yeah, I hope so.
That's the telltale sign of AV starting to waver his confidence in Gus. So the fact that he's thinking of going an extra defenseman when we're already short on forwards,
exactly,
just proves the point that he doesn't have much confidence in Gus.
Exactly.
That's just a perfect proof for it.
Yeah.
All right. Man, this is going to be tough. This is why I'm not a betting man, and this is why I'm not a prognosticator.
I would bet on the Flyers more if you're going to bet, because if you're going to win any money, it's going to be on us. You know, Boston has to be favorites.
Yeah. I think it's like, what, 2.5 is the over-under on that? I don't know.
Well, if you do the over-under, I meant the ML.
Oh, yeah, okay. I don't do any of that stuff, so that's not my thing. But I'm going to say this. I think that I'm going to go for a Flyers win, but I'm also going to say that it's going to go past overtime. And we're going to get into the vaunted and the lovely and the hated shootout.
Bruins kryptonite.
It is. But it's ours
too. Kryptonite too. That's a game of guys.
That's why. Yeah, the Flyers are the worst team in shootouts. Okay, and so this game to me is too close to call. Okay, I think it's going to be like 5-4 with the shootout overtime. Okay, that's what I think it's going to be.
A higher scoring outdoor game.
Yeah, that would be a high scoring outdoor game.
Yeah. I just have that feeling. I just have the feeling that the teams are going to be a lot more loose. You know what I mean? And because there's no fans and because there's no real huge fanfare, I think the guys are going to be a little bit more loosey. You know what I mean? So I'm looking for more of a higher scoring game. So I do think it's going to go into overtime, and I think we're going to get into the shootout because I don't think overtime is going to be enough. I hope that, I would love to see Philadelphia just take this game. I just don't think that's going to happen. Boston, I think, is just way too good right now, even with missing a couple of guys in your lineup. I still think that Boston is still – this would be a different story if Giroux and Voracek and Lawton and all those guys were in. This would be a different conversation. Mm-hmm. But I'm picking the Flyers, but I think Boston's going to win.
You're staying with you're going the hometown vibe. So you're still going to pick the Flyers.
But I really think Boston's going to win this game. I really do.
Well, because I think if it gets to a shootout, like you said, that favors Boston, because we have, even though they're not good in shootouts, you still got Bergeron. You still got even though he's struggling this year, he should be able to score on a dead breakaway. DeBrusque, you got Marchand, you got Pasta. Charlie Coyle, I think, is average in shootouts. So, I mean, you got guys that are pretty decent shootouts. Nick Ritchie's not the best shootout guy, but if you have to have him, he'll probably be able to
But still, you guys have some pretty decent players on the team that are pretty good at shootouts. You know what I mean?
But Bruce will roll out Chris Wagner for the shootout.
Anders Bjork, Sean Corrali, and Chris Wagner is.
Honestly, they'll just do the fourth line as your three shooters.
Oh man! Well, I'll tell you what. There was our predictions. There was our takes on the games. We gave everybody 3 keys to the games. I think this was an awesome show. I really appreciate everybody joining us. This was so awesome. This was so fun. I would love to do this some more. Shannon, thank you very much from Slapshot Sweethearts. I'll get it. Slapshot Sweethearts, thank you very much for joining us. It's been a blast. How can we get a hold of you? Where can we get all your stuff? And where can we tune into all you guys' great content?
Yeah, thanks for having me. This was really fun, and we would definitely love to work with you guys again. And when my co-host is awake, since it's only 9:30 in the morning on the West Coast when we're recording now, then we'll have her join us as well.
Yeah, man.
But you can find us, like I said, on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We're trying really hard to push on YouTube, so give us a subscribe there. Just search Slapshot Sweethearts and we come right up.
Sweet deal. Thank you.
I got you on that. I'll subscribe later.
Perfect. Thank you.
There you go. Cool. Jon, how can we get a hold of all of your great stuff? And thanks very much for joining us. Appreciate your Boston side of things.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This was awesome. I love doing stuff like this as much as I can. If you're interested in the Boston side of things, YouTube, Black and Gold Weekly, my weekly Bruins show, and also on Twitter @BNG Weekly. For my full NHL content, Off the Wall Hockey on YouTube, Off the Wall Hawk, just drop the EY of hockey on Twitter. Also on Facebook, I got a page where I post all my videos and stuff there. And really, thanks for having me again. This has been an awesome time.
I agree. Professor Joe, hey, man, look, we don't have 6 hours for you to tell us how to get a hold of all of your stuff. So give us the Cliff Notes.
Yeah, well, first of all, didn't we all show how great rivals and fans can get along in this podcast? See, everybody, you can all get along. But
because there's no Leaf fans here.
Yeah, there's no. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah, there's no Toronto fans here. But the anyway, moving on before we get in trouble with Toronto.
That's all right.
We have my Instagram is Borek6789. That's probably the easiest way to DM me because Instagram DMs are easier than anything else. Twitter is JJBorek26. You can also DM me there if you want to talk about hockey or come on as a guest. If I vet you and think you're good enough to be a guest, you can come on my show as a guest. And so on, such forth. And the other is just Joseph Borek, my name, for Facebook, where that's more just please support the stuff I post and share out because I don't really post own things on Facebook. I don't use that. I tweet stuff. I don't use Facebook to talk to people usually. But that's where you can find me. Thanks for having this show. This was a great show. It was a blast to do this with everybody. And I thank Shannon and Jon for joining us and definitely look forward to working with Slapshot Sweethearts more in the future because this was, we already have good chemistry, you know?
Yeah,
you got this whole crew, everybody that comes into the crew automatically. It's like bringing Crosby into a different hockey team.
Oh, well, Megan will be happy about
my
that.
My co-host is a
I was just going to say, she's a big Pens fan. Right?
There we go. Okay, I'll go. See, I'm a Flyers fan, but I've commented Cindy Crosby 18 times in the past 2 weeks for different videos and articles I've done. So I'm pretty sure she's not going to dislike. I'm a very can drop back and say, you're the man, you're the myth, you're the legend. I have to accept that.
All good. Thank you all very much for joining us. This is going to be the special from SteelFlyers All Sports Network. We're running the preview show for the Lake Tahoe Classic for Boston Bruins versus the Philadelphia Flyers. I'm SteelFlyers. You can catch me at www.steelflyers.com. You can catch Jon from Off the Wall Hockey and Joe from Joe Borek at steelflyers.com as well. They have their own page there, Off the Wall Hockey, and they have their own page there too, Sports Phanatic News and also Joe Borek. You can catch me on Twitter at SteelFlyers52. Thanks very much for joining us. Just remember, folks, stay strong, stay safe, and hang tough.